Hey guys, welcome back to the build order portion of the video. As mentioned in the title, this is a beginner one-base timing attack. And so I want to start off by saying that this is not a build that I've created. It was one created by another content creator called Bombs, I believe. I'll have a link to the video below. But this is the build that I used when I was in bronze to eventually climb out and get to silver, and I just saw a lot of success with it. So I know from personal experience that it works for a beginner player. So the first thing we're going to do is get that refinery at 15 supply. That's around 29 seconds, I believe. And then as soon as the SCV finishes building the depot, around 45 seconds or at 16 supply, you're going to build a barracks. Populate the gas, and when you're at 17 supply or around 58 seconds, however you like to remember, you're going to build another refinery. So again, that's 15 gas, 16 racks, 17 gas. And as you learn build orders in the future, you'll notice that most of them don't get gas this quickly. This is because it's strictly a one-base build. We're not intending to expand. But this whole time, if you notice, I've had constant SCV production. The SCVs have never stopped. As soon as one finishes, another one starts right after, until we get to 19 supply. Then you're going to create a reactor on the barracks, start orbital, immediately after build a factory with the SCV that built the barracks, and send another SCV to go build a depot. I know, 4 things just happened in quick succession there. Again, it's reactor, orbital command, factory with the SCV that built the barracks, and you're going to pull an SCV from the mineral line to go build the depot, creating a little wall so that way Zerglings can't get in, and so on and so forth. So go ahead and start up marine production once that reactor's finished. Reactors let us double pump basic units. And as soon as the orbital command finishes, I started building SCVs again, and I dropped a mule. So as soon as the factory finishes, have that same SCV build a starport immediately after, and a tech lab. Keep making those marines. And you'll notice that when you get to 26 supply, we're going to get supply cap soon. So right at that moment, 26 supply, you're going to need to build another depot. And that guy is going to be your constant depot builder. He's never going to stop doing it, basically. So lift up the factory and have it build a tech lab. You may be wondering, like, why didn't I just make tanks directly from the tech lab, the first one? Well, this one will let us get a really fast Banshee, which if our opponent's not ready for it, they will take a lot of damage, and our follow-up push is going to be really successful. So as soon as that lands, you're going to want to start Banshee and Cloak. And when you're at 16 out of 16 SCVs, stop. So hopefully, if you're able to do this as exactly as I've done and have 16 out of 16 around, I think it was like 310, you're doing pretty good with constant SCV production. Otherwise, you're going to need to practice to build more to get that down. And it's cool because this build lets you practice like a brief, intense moment of macro, but it's not it's not like a full game plan. So it's just like when you start working out for the first time, you know, you're not pushing yourself for like this hour-long workout. You do something brief and intense, but that it helps you build the strength that you need. So with that first Banshee that pops, go ahead and send it right out across the map, but don't attack with it until Cloak finishes. And if you notice, the SCV that was building that depot behind the mineral line, he's still building depots. He's just going to build one right after another. He should never stop, or you're going to get supply capped. And our marine production needs to never stop. Same with our tank and Banshee production. As long as you have the money, you need to build the units. Don't let there be a gap. Cloak will finish in just a few seconds. And with the Banshee, again, just pick off like a high-tech unit. Like an example could be a siege tank. Killing a siege tank is a great unit because our push is more likely to just end the game right then and there. So it's cool because a lot of beginner builds don't let you practice micro, but this one does, particularly with the Banshee and also with your move out. And micro is very important for any race, but particularly Terran. And hitting timings is really important. And so that's another reason this build is good, is because you're leaving at an exact moment, which is right before 5 minutes, and you should have 3 siege tanks and a bunch of bio and some banshees. And that's a very exact timing. And as you learn Terran more, this is what a lot of build orders are going to feel like, but obviously on more bases. Some pros of this build are that you get to develop the necessary skills to compete in StarCraft, which primarily is macro and micro, making units and making SCVs. And you'll have really short games because this is like a cheese kind of all-in build. And what that means is you get more repetitions. So you'll be able to practice this build, like in an hour, you could have like 10 games, potentially. And an ability to see how Terran's basic units, like Marines and tanks, interact with the other races. However, there are some cons to this build, just so you're aware of them. You kind of don't develop a lot of knowledge about how each individual matchup works, like TVZ or TVP, but that's fine because we're focused primarily on mechanics before knowledge, before game knowledge. And this isn't a particularly effective build at higher levels. However, you will eventually, like say after you reach a point, maybe you get to Silver League, take off the training wheels and start learning other builds, particularly 1 build per matchup. And I'll be posting intermediate guides in the next up and coming weeks as transition builds. There'll be 2 base all-ins, but 1 for every matchup. And until then, this build order should keep you occupied. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.